The land breathes through us. Guard it well, and it will guard you.
Well, can't you tell a story about about your girlhood days and about who raised you? Go ahead.
Talking about James.
No, you.
Yeah, you.
Oh, I always was a good girl. I don't know any stories on me.
Well, you work in the field, you work in the house.
I work in the field and the house, too. Both places. But I like the field the best.
Why'd you like the field the best?
Well, just 'cause I catch more good breeze and more good fresh air out in the field than I does in the kitchen or in the house. Now you know that.
I didn't go to the field till I was 19 years old.
I love the field.
I went to the field when I was 19 years old, and remember the old boy said, well, Joe, you know, us had 3 gyms there. We had one gym, two Jim Max and one Jim Kenneth. And,
Black American English and its roots in Maritime English. Most discussions of Black American English, BAE, frame it as the survival of African languages or as the product of African creolization. But if we look closer at the linguistic environment of the Atlantic world, 1600s to 1700s, the story points us in a different direction.
What is Maritime English?
Maritime English was the simplified contact language used aboard ships and in Atlantic ports. Crews were multinational. Cornish, Welsh, Irish, Scots-Irish, Londoners, Africans, Moors, even Portuguese and Dutch. Arguably Moors and Swarts from these areas too. To work together, they used a stripped-down English. Simple pronouns, me for I, he for all genders. Bare verbs, me go, he say, you come. No tense markers, time shown with context. Loan words like sabi, understand, pickaninny, child, palaver, talk. It wasn't bad English. It was a functioning lingua franca that shaped how captives first encountered the language. What is BAE, Black American English? Black American English is the heritage dialect of Black Americans, rooted in the 1600s to 1800s. It has its own rules: habitual be, double negation, aspect markers, done, been, and distinctive rhythm. It's not slang or broken English. It's the product of generations who took Maritime English and reshaped it in the Americas with influence from the non-standard Englishes of Irish, Cornish, and Welsh, sailors and servants. Examples: across the centuries, 1600s, Maritime English stage, me no sabi dis talk, massa say go, me go. Straight from shipboard pidgin, me for I, no verb endings. 1700s, plantation Creole stage, me done work rice field all day. Them chillin' hungry. Done as aspect, them for plural. Stabilized plantation Creole, especially Gullah. 1800s, early Black English, TAAVE roots. I ain't got no shoes this winter. We gwine down by the river. Double negation, gwine for going to, done gone. Looks like modern AAVE already. 1900s, stabilized BAE, WPA voices. I's been working in the field since I small. They ain't never give us no rest. The WPA interviews preserve full dialect, now a stable heritage variety. Tick. The missing link, Hiberno, Cornish, and Welsh English. Many BAE features have close cousins in Irish and British regional English. Habitual B. Hiberno, he does be working late. BAE, he be working late. Double negatives. Cornish, Welsh, English. I didn't see nobody. Bay, I ain't seen nobody. Done for completion. West Country, he done gone already. Bay, he done gone home. These weren't learned in Africa. They came from the English of poor sailors and indentured servants that Africans and Amerindians lived and worked beside. Moors, indentured servants, and the Atlantic mix. Don't forget the Moorish sailors and indentured servants who also moved through the Atlantic. These men carried Creolized Atlantic speech into the same space where Amerindians, Africans, and Irishmen mix. The African sailors would have owned enslaved people from the group what we recognize and label as white today. Between the 1500s and 1700s, hundreds of thousands of Europeans, English, Irish, Spanish, French, were captured by Barbary corsairs, many of them African sailors. The English BAs learned was not King's English, not purely African retention, but a maritime English forged by Cornish, Welsh, Irish, Cockney, various Creolized African, and Moorish tongues in the chaos of the transatlantic slave trade. Black American English isn't an African survival in disguise. It's a heritage dialect born in the Atlantic, out of maritime English, with crucial input from Irish, Cornish, and Welsh English. It's the speech of a people who learned their English from Moorish sailors, Irish servants, Cornish deckhands, and Welsh farm boys, not from Oxford professors. That's why it sounds the way it does. 1600s maritime English. A, me go market now. You want something back? B, yes, bring water for me. Tanky. 17th century plantation Creole. A, me gwine go store now. You want something back? B, yeah, bring me water. Me tanky you. 1800s early BAE. Antebellum. A, I gwine to the store. You want me fetch you anything? B, yes, fetch me some water. Much oblige. 1900s WPABAEA, I fix and go to the store. You want something? B, yeah, bring me some water. Appreciate ya. Modern BAE, 21st century. A, I'm finna go to the store. You want something? B, bet, grab me some water. Appreciate you. Missionary report, John Eliot's work, 1660s. Eliot taught Algonquian speakers English and noted they used simplified forms. Example, me want bread, him no go. Paraphrases recorded in Eliot's letters to the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. From their own words, WPA/slave narrative quotes from various states, National Humanities Center, Enslaved Family, selections from the WPA narratives. Lucinda Davis, enslaved in Oklahoma. I don't know where I've been born. Nobody never did tell me, but my mammy and pappy get me after the war, and I know den whose child I is. National Humanities Center, Emancipation, the WPA interviews of formerly enslaved African Americans. Former slaves from South Carolina, 1860s, 1930s recollection. We was free. Just like that, we was free. Also in that batch, Abe Lincoln freed the nigger with the gun and the trigger, and I ain't gonna get whipped anymore. 3 Mississippi, WPA slave narratives. James Lucas, Adams County, Mississippi, born 1833. Sharecropping wasn't much different from slavery. We lived in quarters, used the white folks, horses and plows, and helped raise our own food. We just changed a master for a boss. Virginia Harris, Coahoma County, Mississippi. When you is a slave, you ain't got no more chance than a bullfrog. 4 Missouri, Slavery's Echoes, interviews with former Missouri slaves. Tishy Taylor, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I wasn't very old during slave time, but I worked, yes sir I did, in my poor mammy Chile. It was from daylight to dark. Mammy used to card wool and cotton and spin, then she would weave goods. Rachel Going, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. My master let us come and go pretty much as we pleased. In fact, we had much more freedom than most of the slaves in those days. 5 Virginia Memory, Virginia WPA Narratives, from Voices WPA Narratives series. The narratives include interviews with former slaves, showing speech with heavy dialect and recounting stories of life under slavery and freedom. 1. Lucinda Davis, Oklahoma, Chickasaw freedwoman. I don't know where I've been born. Nobody never did tell me, but my mammy and pappy get me after the war, and I know then whose child I is. 2. Frances Banks, Oklahoma, Choctaw freedwoman. After the war, I was what you call a freedman. 3. Frances Banks. The Indians had to give all they slaves 40 acres of land. 4. Frances Banks. I sellers lived on this land with Gene's dad of old masters, and I's never stayed away from it long at a time. 5. James Lucas, Mississippi, born 1833. Sharecropping wasn't much different from slavery. We lived in quarters, used the white folks' horses and plows, and helped raise our own food. We just changed a master for a boss. 6. Virginia Harris, Mississippi. When you is a slave, you ain't got no more chance than a bullfrog. 7. Unidentified, South Carolina WPA narrative. We was free. Just like that, we was free. 8. South Carolina WPA verse. Abe Lincoln freed the nigger with the gun and the trigger, and I ain't gonna get whipped anymore. 9. Tishy Taylor, Missouri, Poplar Bluff. I wasn't very old during slave time, but I worked. Yes, sir, I did. And my poor mammy Chelly, it was from daylight to dark. 10. Tishy Taylor. Mammy used to card wool and cotton and spin, then she would weave goods. 11. Rachel Goings, Missouri, Cape Girardeau. My master let us come and go pretty much as we pleased. In fact, we had much more freedom than most of the slaves in those days. 12. Charles Grandy, Virginia, WPA. I belonged to Marse Billy Grandy. He was good to his slaves, but he sure made them work. 13th. Unidentified, Alabama, WPA. The master blow the horn for daylight, and us better get out that bed and be in the field for sunup. 14. Henry Brown, Texas, WPA. I see the Yankees when they come. I was standing in the yard and they rid up and say, "You is free now." 15. Millie Evans, North Carolina, WPA. I know I was treated good. My old missus, she learned me my catechism and my prayers. 16. Silas Jackson, Georgia, WPA. When the master died, they put all the niggers in the big house yard and read the will. 17. Hannah Irwin, Alabama, WPA. I members the paterols, they come at night looking for runaway niggers. 18. Jeff Calhoun, Texas, WPA. I didn't know nothing about freedom till the Yankees come and tell us we was free. 19. Polly Colbert, Oklahoma, Chickasaw freedwoman. I was born in Chickasaw Nation. My folks belonged to the Colbert family. I was raised in the nation and talked Chickasaw too. 20. Unidentified, Florida, WPA. We make shoes out of rawhide, and if the weather was bad, we wrap our feet in rags. The pronouns and verb forms, es, I is instead of I am. Us sometimes used for we. Us better get out that bed. We see bear verbs, he go, they come, we make. No S endings, which matches Maritime English, and Amerindians learned English simplifications. We also see double negatives. Ain't got no more chance, don't know nothing. Ain't, replacing isn't, haven't, didn't. This is a universal feature in BAE, already seen in 18th century Creole's English. The aspect and tense markers, done as perfective marker, he done gone, not in the 20 I listed, but common in WPA. Gwine to equals going to, future marker. Fixin' to equals about to, Southern and Black speech. All of this shows a continuity of Creole aspect markers, time shown by context words rather than inflections. The phonological features, TEAs, DT, DE, dat, dem, the, that, them. The R dropping, stove for store, water for water, and the final consonant dropping, chill for child, old for old lineup with West Country, Hiberno, and Creole maritime pronunciations. Even with the rhythm and structure found in the parataxis, I seed the Yankees when they come. I was standing in the yard and they ride up and say, "You is free now." We see formulaic phrases. "Yes, sir, I did. That time. Alice lived." And the repetition of call and response cadence in songs and verses. Abe Lincoln freed the niggerer with the gun and the trigger. Rapping has always been with Black Americans. It matches up neatly with maritime English. There's plenty of counter arguments to make, honestly, especially in regards to the West African substrate. The primary evidence disproving the claim that BAE's systematic grammar can only be explained by a West African substrate comes from two categories: sociolinguistic history and structural linguistics. The claim fails by ignoring the multi-ethnic environment in which English was first acquired. Non-exclusive features like the BAE's headline features like zero copula, double negation, and the use of done were not unique to Africans. They are attested in non-standard British/Irish dialects like Hiberno English and L2 contact English used by Native Americans, documented in 17th century and 18th century mission records. Primary sources, Elliot Zeisberger Colonial Codes, confirm the existence of a widespread simplified colonial L2 English template, me-go, him-no-go, that predates the peak of African imports. This register, not a specific tribal grammar, was the common linguistic pool for all non-elite language learners. Legal documents, Virginia 1705 Slave Code, and treaties, 1866 Five Nations, prove sustained, intimate cohabitation between the enslaved population and Amerindians, demonstrating a shared social crucible for language transmission, vertical acquisition by children. The smoking gun is the lexifier constraint mapping as the unbreakable piece of evidence that prevents BAE's grammar from being explained by an external substrate, African or otherwise, is the demonstration that its core grammatical constraints are internal to the English language. The smoking gun, then, is the systematic mapping of BAE deletion rules onto standard English contraction rules. Labov's contraction principle is evident in Black American English. The copula is or are can only be deleted zero copula in the exact context where the equivalent form in standard English can be contracted, as or iri. BAE cannot use the zero copula in contexts where standard English cannot contract the verb, "I know who you at." The copula are cannot be contracted in that clause final position in standard English. "I know who you're" is ungrammatical. She, insert to be verb, smart. The copula can be contracted in standard English, she's smart. If BAE's grammar were built on a purely external substrate, like Yoruba or Yui, the language would follow the rules of that substrate, not the obscure, complex, and highly phonological constraints of the English lexifier. The fact that the systematicity of the BAE's zero copula is perfectly predicted by English phonology and syntax is decisive proof that the vernacular is a form of English that has undergone reanalysis and grammaticalization, a feature known as decreolization or dialect divergence, but is fundamentally constrained by its lexical source language.